Let me ask Ken Versa. Ken Versa on the end, who's got his own radio talk show. You think I did a pretty fair job here with the young ladies? You think
not bad, not bad. I mean, you know, if I was sitting there, I'd have their
measurements?
Beside their measurements, their home phone number, which you do already.
I got it, but it's unlisted, right?
Right.
I want to tell the whole world, I was on Ken Versa's radio show, and I loved it, and I was on there. Name some of the people who were on there with me.
I loved having you along with us. We also had the Delroys. We had Tony Michelle Barrett's, Charles Henry. Of course, my idol over here, the king of nostalgia, Mr. Joe Franklin.
I-D-L-E, idol. I want Ken Versa to be my anchorman and talk with a lot of people, beginning with a very charismatic gentleman, and I do mean that George Smith has won the unanimous raves through the years of the critics and the audience alike. He is a good singer. George.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to our panel. We met a long time ago, right?
Yes, we did.
How many years with Lionel Hampton?
10 years with Lionel Hampton.
And now on your own?
On my own now.
George, I got to ask you now, Frank Sinatra left Tommy Dorsey. He wanted to take a chance and be a soloist. Bob Eberly, when he sang with Jimmy Dorsey, decided not to leave the band. He didn't want to desert the band that built him up, and he didn't have the self-confidence. He was maybe insecure to go solo. What goes through your mind or anybody's mind who sang with a band, the whole subject of staying or taking the plunge as a solo act? Help me elaborate on the whole theory.
Well, on the solo act, you'll get an opportunity to do more of what you really want to do instead of being locked into maybe 4 or 5 minutes or 6 minutes as it may be, to do 2 numbers throughout a whole set of maybe 45 minutes. So you get locked in and wanting to do something. It may not be written into the next program. If you're doing 2 shows or 3 shows a night, you're just not simply locked into maybe possibly having to do the same 2 numbers as you did in the first. So
Vince Donato, who specializes in comedy, which we'll talk about. But Vince, the subject of singers who left the bands. Let's say, you know, Perry Como left Ted Weems, Joe Stafford left Tommy Dorsey, and Bob Eberly, and a few of them stayed with the bands. What's any of your recollection or theory on that whole era?
I really don't know too many of them.
Right. What do you think,
about them.
Ken? What would you go? What goes through your mind regarding that?
Well, I'll tell you, the big band sounds are just as much as part of today's music.
Are you sorry, George, you left the big bands ever?
No, I'm not. I always felt that my forte was to one day be on my own, as I am now, and do the things that I'm doing now, like having my own record label and my own production of the song that's out now, and I sort of look forward to leaving.
George is a good friend and a man with a good voice. He's a dynamo. So when you sing, George, do you sing to the whole audience out there, or do you focus maybe on one face in the audience?
I found myself sometimes looking at a face, or mostly when I'm performing, I'm looking at my whole audience.
Do you do different material for different times of the night, like the early show, the late show, the late show? You change the mood?
Well, I change my mood only when I find that if I've got a set program and I'm not really getting to the audience, then I might change in the middle of the stream and do something, not so much a sing-along kind of thing, but something that I always say is a number that I may have later on in the program. I'll move it up.
Right.
And hit them with what I call my biggie. And
what's your biggie? What's your biggie?
Well, the ballads are all my biggies. I like to think that the ballads is everything that's indicative of what I'm about.
Ken Versa, do a little work around here today. What do you want to ask or say?
Well, what does it take to do a ballad, for instance? You know, it's a ballad naturally is a gut and soul song, isn't it?
Well, yeah, that's very true. But I always like to pick ballads that really say something, a story kind of a ballad. A lot of ballads that are being done are songs that are original. Sometimes I'm somewhat nostalgic, and a sentimentalist at heart. Mm-hmm. And I go back at the old songs that are really great songs, and I just take them and I perform them as I feel.
Did you ever sing with the Count Basie or Duke Ellington?
Yes, I sang with both bands.
Really?
I sang with Count's band on occasions for different organizations.
Mm.
I sang with Duke Ellington's band in Atlantic City at the Steel Pier in Atlantic City just before the days of Duke being very, very sick and dying. And it was a great experience. one that I would never forget.
I would like George Smith to know that I'm a fan. I would like Ken Versa and George to meet a man named Vince Donato. Now, I knew Vince originally, not as a humorist or as a satirist, but as a
Singer.
singer, but with a violin act.
That's right, 2 girls play violin. Called the Sounds of Joy, and now called the Violinettes.
Violinettes.
They
Nice,
play violin.
nice book. Yeah. Oh, here's a picture.
Yes.
Right, there's a nice book. Now, of course, if they retire and get married, you might want to sign up
We might.
Betty Thomas and Audrey
Why not?
Landers.
They have the beauty and the sound, probably.
I love violin music. Remember a man named Emery Deutsch and his magic violin? And
Remember
he wrote
the name, yes.
Play Gypsy, Dance Gypsy, and
Played
When
in New
Gypsy
York quite a bit.
Makes a
Yes.
violin cry. He was great. So now you're crusading for Laugh Holidays. Bring us up to date on what the whole campaign is about. Laughing and being well.
Well, laughter, the concept comes from a book by Norman Cousins, who wrote a book called Anatomy of an Illness.
Right.
And I've been toying with the idea for a long time. I'm a pharmacist who doesn't practice it, so my background's medical. And the concept of laughter, which you embody, Joe, so much you spread it around, that people really further their life, extend their life, and life extension, and prevent many ills and cure some ills through laughter. And so the first time we've incorporated the meaning of laughter, some of the jokes in cartoons, and skills and drills of how to use laughter in your daily life. We were talking about Larry Hagman. He does something every morning. I believe it's we caught him on a show. He brushes his teeth and laughs for 1 minute to start the day. Some people don't have teeth, so they brush anyway. But to laugh is the most important thing. In fact, we even created a doll that helps you laugh. It's called Freddie Feel Great. And you push his belly, and you laugh. And if you can't, he helps you. It's only a short laugh. But you've got to do something.
Are you, Ken, you going to invite Freddie Feel Great onto your radio show?
Oh, I'd love to. I would love to throw that in during the show. That would be great.
He comes from the Laugh Factory.
What does he represent? What does he
He
represent?
represents everybody. The main thing is the hope of laughter and to live and to be happy, because this is something you can't tax, something you were born with, and something you really go back to. Because as we go along life's path, if we can laugh at something and laugh at yourself especially, then you got it made.
Laughter as a cure for what ails us.
That's true.
Laughter as a health technique. But I'm trying to figure out what are your qualifications? You're a violinist and a good singer, but what makes you all of a sudden the laughing master?
I've been around men all my life as a performer, as a singer, and I do comedy. And my partner who helped write the book writes comedy. And we have a school in Teaneck called the Laugh Factory.
Will you teach people to be funny?
No, we can't teach people to be funny. We teach them how to develop their talents in order to help people who are not funny. In other words, if we develop enough laughs and products, then we can aid the people to laugh. If we can start the people to laugh, because comedians can help to start the laugh, just like the toy or the cartoon. Some people need to be rebuilt.
Especially during these difficult times?
That's right, anytime. Especially when work or whatever, even just living, stress, which is the biggest thing for people, to overcome stress. If we can learn to laugh, just get in the corner and laugh.
Ken, a man with a laugh seminar, a laughter school, a book on laughing and being well, what is your...
Well, I'll tell you, I have one question, but, you know, being that you have a school for laughter, I mean, is there a personality that you can detect from somebody's laughter? Kind of curious.
Sure, your laughter really is part of your total beingness. A lot of us subdue it because of the stress of life, and we don't hear good belly laughs anymore. You hear a little laugh like that, and we're afraid. The typical joke is the psychiatrist going to another psychiatrist, "Good morning, how are you?" And he goes, "I wonder what he means by that." You see, we've forgotten how to laugh.
Right.
This is an inborn trait. And like singers, like a friend here, vocalizes every day, and I used to play scales. You have to develop to laughalize. Get up and look at life and look at yourself and say, I'm on this earth for a reason. God put us here. Let's laugh. And this helps secretes hormones in the body.
But
and in the brain.
the hormonal secretion now, that would tie in with the chemical or the therapeutic value.
Endomorphins in the body, which Norman Cousins said, and we all know. And people don't even have to know that.
Right.
We have to learn to use laughter, which most people do not know.
Right. But there are physical benefits and mental benefits of laughter.
Absolutely.
In other words, don't be such a sourpuss.
We have it in hospitals. We have recovery rooms now.
Right.
In 2 hospitals where they laugh. They play tapes and listen to recordings.
I know somebody who was at death's door, and this book pulled them through. I'm only kidding. No. Let me
You know, I'm in cousins. Not this book.
let me set up a little bit of George Smith's music following these words. I wish Mr. I want you to listen to George's record. Give him,
will.
And give him a spin on some of your local radio stations in your hometown of what?
Teaneck,
New Jersey. These words, then we're going to hear music by George Smith, and then the Dolan family, a family you will never forget. Thank Rosie. Rosie's on the Naive record label. I don't know about that. What a label, Naive. I want to reintroduce, if I may, the young man on the end. His name is Ken Versa, and I was on Ken's radio show, and we had a good time, and I invited Ken to come down here and visit with a lot of nice people. And I wanted to show a couple of pictures, Ken, that we took that night. That charming lady alongside you.
Well, if I may say that our radio show is kind of crazy, for instance, because we do it from restaurants and nightclubs.
You may say it.
Okay. The lady that's in that picture is a representative for public relations for a place called Benihana's of Tokyo.
Great chain. I know the owner very well. Rocky,
Yeah.
good friend of mine.
Right.
That young fella, I can't think
Well,
of his
that
name.
guy just wandered in, and but I'll tell you, no, really, I must say that it was an honor to have the king of nostalgia,
King
Mr.
of
Joe
Nostalgia,
Franklin.
right.
The gentleman in that picture is our producer, Stan Bernard, who is also the co-host for our radio show.
Ken Versa is a
interviewing one of
good
the customers there.
talk show host, and he is a good friend. I want Ken to meet some nice people, starting with a young lady alongside you whose name is Marin Alsop. And she is the conductor or the leader of something making a lot of noise around town, right? Good
Yeah.
critiques. What's it
String
called?
fever.
String fever.
Yeah,
Gotta
it's
tell us.
contagious.
Got to tell us what it is and how do we catch it?
Well, it's, to make a long story short, it's a 14-piece, all-woman string swing band. And we're performing right now. We try to play in New York at least once a week. And right now we're at a club on West 46th Street called Van Buren's. We're there right now every Tuesday night at 11 p.m. So if you go to a show, you can drop over right after. And we may be playing there for brunches also on Sundays. So
All ladies?
Yeah.
What was your, let me show the picture. What was your first exposure, Marin, ever to jazz or swing, let's say?
Oh, I'd say when I was about 2 years old, crawling around the living room floor, and my father had tons of Frank Sinatra records on, and he also played with various big band orchestras himself.
Name one
Name one.
that he played with.
Okay. Very quickly. Tommy Dorsey.
Ah, what a band, huh?
Yeah.
Who else? I love to hear the names of old-time bands.
Let's see. Who else did he play with?
Jimmy Dorsey, Harry James, Fred Waring.
Fred Waring.
Fred
he was
Waring?
He toured with for many years, yeah. Fred Waring, big band.
Good man, Fred. He invented the Waring blender.
He did, too.
He did?
yes. He did. You're kidding, really? Fantastic.
That's the show. It's before our time.
Got the greatest white hair. He was here about 3-4 years ago, Fred Waring. So, I mean, did you always want to be a leader? Always want to be a conductor of this? How did this...
Well, I guess I always want to be a leader. I didn't know of what yet, but I was playing a lot of classical music. I was trained at Juilliard, and, you know, the desire to play different kinds of music, swing and popular music, rock and roll, a little bit of disco. I always wanted to be part of what was happening in my generation, and this concept grew out of that, and...
Marin Alsop. What a pretty name.
Thank you
So
very
your
much.
repertoire, Marin, let's say, ranges from what to what with string fever?
From Bach to rock.
Bach to rock?
Yeah.
Let me get a feeling from Ken Versa. What do you want to say about Marin or about Spring Fever?
Oh, wow. That's a women's band. I mean,
Yeah, it's great.
I can imagine them going into a little... What type of rock?
Well, we do a couple of tunes. We do a tune that George Benson sings a lot on Broadway,
Uh-huh.
and some original kind of disco tunes.
Wow, one night I have to try to catch
Maybe
it.
we'll hear a
please
sample.
do.
Maybe we'll hear a sample today of
Oh, that
Spring
would be
Fever.
great, yeah.
Opposite this young lady is a young comedian who has won so many national laugh pageants and festivals, and I used to say a rising young comedian or a promising young, but I think he's already risen. His name is Rob Bartlett, and I'm a fan. Rob, why don't you take over? Comment on anything you've heard so far today.
Well, I definitely think this panel's a crusher, baby. It really is. No, it's great to be here. I'm really glad to be back.
So down memory lane with you. I mean, did your childhood friends tell you when you were a kid they would say, Rob, you should be a comedian? Let's go way down comedy memory lane.
Yeah, well, on my comedy memory lane, it started with the report card that I brought home. My father took a look at it and said, "You're joking, right?" And kind of from there, you know, was the class clown.
Is it harder though, Rob, to be funny nowadays? What with television burning up or using up so many jokes, so many routines so fast? I'm being serious now.
Well, television does eat up a lot of material. David Brenner had said something about he's written, I don't know how many hours of material just for the Johnny Carson show.
Right.
The 5 minutes that I did on David Letterman is history now. I can't do that again. It's very, very difficult, especially now with the advent of cable. There's a lot more television available to comedians, and to be fresh and constantly be coming up with creative ideas, it's a little difficult.
Would you like to do a situation comedy, a la, let's say, Tony Randall or somebody like that?
Yo, definitely. I think that's a great showcase for a comic talent to do either a sitcom or a film, something that, because you notice a lot of comedians now are not just going for stand-up, they're not just opening up for acts at Atlantic City or Vegas. A lot of them are going into television, acting, you know, series.
Whatever happened to that caustic or that intellectual, that egghead type? When I was a kid, I used to listen to Monty Woolley on the Al Jolson radio show. Remember the name Monty Woolley?
Monty Woolley.
Dry and
the beard.
Very sort of hostile. Remember those days?
Monty Woolley. I've heard a lot of records.
Who did you like? I mean, when you were a kid, your influences?
I've always liked Jonathan Winters. I tend to like more of the comic actors.
Woody Allen, for sure.
Woody Allen, for sure. Always had a soft place in my heart for Peter Sellers. I'm very, very impressed with the old George Burns and Gracie Allen.
Say goodnight, Gracie, right?
Yeah.
Marin, what's your feeling on comedy and comedians and the ones who might open your act someday if Rob is not available?
I'm actually going to get Rob's number to see if he'll write me a few jokes. Fantastic. You know, a great comedian is hard to find and wonderful to see.
Comedy is a serious business.
That's what I always say. Yeah.
Ken, who do you like, or who do you want to reminisce about?
Sure, comedy's great. I love comedy.
How about Joe Penner?
Joe Penner.
Want to buy a duck?
That's the guy. And who says, yeah, what's up, Doc? Mel Blanc?
Mel Blanc.
I think so. Ladies and gentlemen, a magnificent and energetic lady. I want Rob and Marin and Ken to meet the queen of the musical glasses, a big smash last week. You said about David Letterman, she stopped the show cold, and she's going back. Her name is Gloria Parker. And Gloria, I got to ask you, what's new and what's old, and how many glasses have you worn out lately? And bring us up to date.
Well, we have this very exciting new Christmas album, and it's the first time in history the glasses have ever been recorded in America. You know, I ask you this question all the time. Joe Franklin introduced the glasses in 1751.
That's right.
Was he any relation of yours, Joe?
That was me.
Benjamin Franklin did. Anyway, and Dr. Anton Metzger mesmerized the stations by playing the glasses. And Rob did a commercial with us, which is being seen all over the country. We did this adorable commercial about the musical glasses, and...
Oh, you two came together. Rob, you do the honors. You introduce Gloria. Now you're at a big banquet on the day. You introduce Gloria Parker to the audience.
Well,
what do you want to say about this?
It's my pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to introduce you a fine young lady who has really made musical history by recording some musical glasses. And when she plays, dogs from everywhere show up.
Is this kind of an act, Gloria? Is this kind of a carryover from vaudeville? Not you, but I mean, long before you were born, did they have anything like this in vaudeville shows?
Well, yes, they were introduced in Germany and England, and that's where Benjamin Franklin saw them.
Right.
You know, it's all done with vibrations. Everything in this world is a vibration.
Right.
Earthquakes, when I speak, my vocal cords are vibrating, and all you do is moisten a finger and run it around the rim of a glass. And that's how it's done. Now, I have 28 glasses filled with different amounts of water, and the sounds are positively ethereal. This album is very exciting. It's meeting with much success all over the country, And
It's soothing and spiritual. I love it. Do you teach others to play musical glasses if somebody wants to?
well, it's very difficult to accumulate 28 glasses or as many as I have. My grandfather brought them from Czechoslovakia, and he taught me the glasses when I was 8 years old. My mother started me on the violin at 3 and a half, and I gave my first concert at 5 at the Academy of Music. And of course, you know about my all-male orchestra.
This young lady,
18 musicians.
This young lady was a top name band leader when she was a child, Gloria Parker, and she made a lot of big hit records, and she wrote a lot of big hit songs, including one song which I recall has the longest title of any song ever written. I mean, one word. What was?
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Say it again.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Boy, what a title, huh? Miss Alsop, you're the musical expert. What goes through your mind meeting a lady who is the top musical glass player in the world?
Well, I'm wondering if you'd like to do a guest appearance sometime.
Oh.
You were mentioning that you play some jazz, and
Oh, yes.
be fantastic. We've had, you know, compared to you, somewhat dull soloists being clarinetists and singers. A musical glass player would be fantastic.
I love it. You know, I do take requests when I appear anywhere, and it causes quite a stir. These records, yeah, I play any song that people want to hear. And this particular record can be purchased in Record World and all the TSS record shops. Isn't that exciting? It comes in cassettes, 8 tracks, and on the album.
Do you have any old glasses that are rare?
Yes, I have several on them that are very, very rare. You know, they are totally irreplaceable, and Lloyd's of London will not insure them for $1 million.
Are they as rare as Marin Alsop's Stradivarius?
Well, very likely. How rare is your Stradivarius?
Say $2 million. Say that.
Just say that, $2 million?
What do you think?
Oh, Joe, you're a clown.
What's your rarest violin in the whole group?
I have, well, I think it could be mine. I have a Guadagnini, which is an old Italian instrument.
He's a nice man. I think I went to school with him, right?
Right. He lives
Rob?
around the corner.
I have a ukulele that's medium rare.
Medium rare. Arthur Godfrey's.
Arthur Godfrey's, right. He
Ken,
gave it to me.
musical glasses. What is your...
I tell you, it's fascinating, and you know, just want to ask you a quick question
Yes.
about recording that album.
Yes.
How long did it take?
They're not going to believe you, Gloria.
That's right,
You
they
started
won't.
5 years ago.
No, actually, it took us one session.
Really?
Yes, I did the whole thing, dubbing and everything. I made the arrangements myself. And you see, I do play 7 other instruments. My main instrument is marimba and vibes, like Lionel. And my different musical knowledges have been all put into this particular rare instrument. And I just love playing it. It is totally out of this world, ethereal.
A touch of the musical glasses, and I want to get a feeling from Marin Alsop. I'll get that name, but it's a very nice name, Marin. I want to get Marin Alsop's opinion because she is the lady who knows good and important music. A touch of Joy to the World from the new album by Gloria Parker. Just a sample. That's just one highlight from... I'd love to get a feeling from my Juilliard graduate.
Oh, sounds great. It must be hard to travel.
Well, I have a very special case for it. You know, there's 3 choruses on most of these things. The first one is straight. The second one has the chords. And then I did a Baroque.
Theme and variation.
Yes, it was very, very difficult. But it's great, and I'm very proud of it.
I used to listen to you on the Vincent Lopez radio show.
That's right.
Right?
Well, I was on the network for 8 years,
That's
coast
right.
to coast, and we did a Saturday show, Shake the Maracas with Vincent Lopez.
Shake
from
the
top.
maracas. Rob, what do you want to say about that one?
I'm not going to touch that line with a 10-year-old, Joe. I'm going to stay out of that one.
So I want to wish Gloria good luck with the new album, and I would love to hear a sample of String Fever as it's heard at what club again now?
Van Buren's. West 46th Street.
And here is a very important and well-reviewed new group called String Theater. From now on, I'll be a fan. You too, Gloria?
Thank you, Joe.
What a sound. And Ken, you're going to go in there and spend some of that money you make at...
Definitely.
Yeah, I hope you all
I'm
come
going to try to
over.
get down there.
And Rob, so Rob, when you transform yourself into different characterizations, do you just forget you and just be them? Give us a little bit on the activity on the nightclub floor.
Well as appearing to Catch a Rising Star at various points during the year, I'm also playing in Roslyn, New York, at a place called Ferns.
But who do you become? I mean...
Oh, there's a variety of people. One of my favorite people I like to do is Tom Carvel. Tom Carvel's a big favorite of mine. I'm a big fan of his commercials.
Well, Tom Carvel is a very funny man. He really is.
He's very, very funny.
In
He's got a
private
great
life.
sense of humor.
He puts the whole world on with those commercials, right?
He really does. He really does. And he knows that the commercials are looked as...
He wants to be impersonated, right?
I think so. I think so. I got word from one of his publicity directors that
He said, "Get out of
aware of me doing him, and he's very pleased. So,
What do you want to say, Gloria?
I think he likes to be a singer.
Right.
He tries so hard to sing.
Right. Does a lot for Greek charity, and
Yeah.
good friend of Danny Thomas.
somebody told me that Bob Hope, Tom Carvel, and Fugazi, they go out on the town whenever they're all together.
A couple young fellas
Yeah,
starting out.
that's a trio for you. That's a real trio.
Right. I want to wish good luck to this marvelous panel. Rob Bartlett is a funny, funny man. Gloria Parker's album is available where?
At the TSS stores and Record World stores.
Right, and you'll be in the lobby selling them later.
Good idea.
I want to wish good luck to Miss... I'll get that name yet. One more
I'm
time.
not going to tell you.
Miss String Fever and Mr.
Great.
Ken Versa. These words are now with some very exciting and delightful and marvelous people. This is for us a show of shows, a sparkling array of talent.
We will return after these messages.
It's Crazy Eddie's greatest Christmas sale ever, and Crazy Eddie's going ColecoVision crazy. ColecoVision is the state-of-the-art video game from Coleco that brings the action, sounds, and scoring of real arcade games right to your own TV. Shop around, get the best prices you can find on ColecoVision, then go to Crazy Eddie and he'll beat him. And Crazy Eddie has all the latest ColecoVision game cartridges, too. It's Crazy Eddie's Christmas sale, and Crazy Eddie's going ColecoVision crazy. Get one now and get a free Donkey Kong cartridge. Crazy Eddie, his Christmas sale prices are insane.
We will return after these messages.